the second quarter earnings ramping up, investors are hunting for fresh beats to propel the equities market here in Nigeria. Analysts say absent of broader earnings surprises, the All Shar Index is likely to tread water or pull back in the near term. Ngozi Odum, research associate at Cardinal Stone, joins me now to unpack recent market movements with a focus on banking tickers. Ngozi, thanks a lot for joining us on the show today. We're seeing interest income also driving the performance at this moment for the first half here when we're looking at banking tickers, and we've seen investor demand also lift with the tier 1, tier 2 picks. Walk us through the banking index at this moment and your reading of the earnings so far.
So really, for the banking sector, what we've seen is a ramp up in interest following the expectations for robust earnings for H1. That aside, earlier in the Q2, we got new directives from the central bank regarding banks' loan forbearances and directives for compliance. So that resulted in stringent implications for dividend payout and other expansions. However, we saw that once the news settled down and once investors were able to delineate from what they saw, the facts and figures, they were able to also position ahead of expected banks that will still, will I say, enjoy robust earnings. So I think it was a hunt for value. And we've seen that so far the results have been broadly positive, except for one or two. For the results that we've seen so far within our coverage, they are not interim paying companies. So for the dividend expectations, we don't yet have, will I say, enough color as to what to expect for full year 2025. But for the banks that were still expecting their earnings, we expect it to be a mix. We expect most of the pressures to come from impairment charges. We also saw a surge in impairment charges for some of the banks that have released. In Q2 alone, we saw a material surge for the likes of First Bank and FCMB for the quarter standalone. And this just reflects their compliance to CBN's exit of loan forbearances. So we anticipate to see what will happen to the tier 1s that usually pay interim. Already Access has posted that their conversations, the board is meeting to approve the result and then talks on dividends announcement. So we'll see what happens there.
Sure. And talking about the sort of trading action we're seeing at this moment now, one of the information also driving the market is UBA's right issue as well. We're looking at the scheduled close of next week, Tuesday. We have GTCO's closing of the listing of GDR. So at this moment, and today is the effective date for the changes of the LSE tickers for shares. Walk us through these developments and how this might also introduce new movements on the tickers.
I think for UBA, so the announcement of their rights issue, we saw a strong rally in the price of UBA, and then they announced the rights issue will be done at 15 naira price, and we've seen UBA trade, will I say, really lackluster since the announcement, because prior to now, before the announcement, UBA was trading slightly above 15 naira. But I think markets have, driven the price down to, where the rights issue price is. I think those conversations about recapitalization for UBA is a positive one, because so far they are able to complete this recapitalization exercise. It sets them up in a good position. First of all, they've met CBN's directive for recapitalization, and then it now introduces new funds for the business for expansion as well as growth. So I think it's a positive one. We know that there are near-term concerns about potential earnings dilution combined with the impact of exiting of loan forbearances. But I think, all in all, I think the earnings from 2026-2027 will be better, because if they are able to exit in current year, it puts them in a better position for long-term future growth. And then for GTCO, what we're seeing is just a regularization of the process. Initially, when he mentioned that it was taking a direct listing on the LSE, it also mentioned that it will be cancelling the GDR. So what we're just seeing is a completion of that process.
Yes. Ngozi would leave the conversation here. Thank you so much for your time in the show. That was Ngozi Odum, research associate at Cardinal Stone.